It's the weekend and you have financial questions that need answering. That can only mean one thing. It's time for Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome, welcome. It's the Jill on Money Show. This is the program that takes the mystery out of your financial life. We do that by answering your questions. Let's start with Dave, who's on the line with us from Chicago. Hi, Dave. How are you?
Hi, Jill. I'm good. How are you?
Tell us what brings you to the show today.
I'm really interested in your thoughts because I'm a retired military guy, and so I've got a military pension. I'm working now. I'm a government civilian now. So I've got all these pensions, and I don't know if I'm saving enough. So I've got these pensions, I'm saving money, but I don't know if I'm saving enough. So that's what I'm interested to hear from you to see how I'm doing, basically.
All right. This is great. How old are you, Dave?
50.
And are you married, single, partnered?
Yes, I'm married.
Okay.
My wife's
And
53.
Sorry, how old?
She's 53.
Okay. Is she also military?
No, she's not.
Does she work?
She works part-time, very part-time.
That's what I aspire to. Very
Yeah.
part-time. I was just talking about that with Mark. Okay. So the old military pension, which is now paying out, how
Yes.
much is that?
$6,600 a month.
Wow. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Your current salary.
153.
Your wife, you said, was very part-time. So how much income does she bring in?
It's like $500 a month.
Okay. Any other sources of income besides the salary, the part-time, and the pension?
Yeah, I actually have another pension. It's like a VA pension.
Of course you do.
It's
How much?
a VA pension. It's like $2,500 a month, which is tax-free.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. You have a VA pension. Does that mean you got hurt?
Well, it's not really. Well, I mean, they evaluate you, at the end of your military service. So,
Yeah.
It's a combination of things.
Oh, I hate that. I mean, I'm glad you're getting compensated, but it's not great. So $2,500 a month, not taxable.
Right.
$6,600 is taxable.
Yes.
And $153 also sadly taxable since you actually are working.
Right.
So that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's coming in. What do you guys have kids?
3 kids, 3 daughters.
Oh, how old are they?
I've got a junior, a sophomore, and then an 8th grader. 17, 16, and 13.
17 and 16 is insane.
Yes.
Okay. I don't even know what's happening.
All
for
4,
you.
all 3 of them will be in high school next year.
What are we doing in terms of college for these kids? Because one of them gets a GI Bill. Is that it?
Well, I do. I have the post 9/11 GI Bill, and I split it. But I can change it, but I've split it between the 3. So you get 36 months, and I gave 12 months to each of them.
Okay, so each has a year on the military,
Right?
And then do you save other money for them for college?
Yes. So I have a 529.
Okay,
and we have just in total there's 100,000 in that 529.
That's great. That's great. Do you contribute to that 529 going forward? Do you put a certain amount in?
We had in the past. We are putting money in. We haven't been putting too much as of late. We've kind of stopped on the oldest one, but we're putting money in for the younger 2, like my sophomore and the 8th grader.
Mm-hmm.
We're still contributing, but we haven't been for the oldest one.
Okay. And are they all headed to state school or private school, or you don't know yet?
We're trying to direct them to the state schools is what we're trying to do.
Good luck on that.
Right.
Okay. Are you putting money into a new deferred retirement plan through your government civilian salary?
Yeah. So I'm contributing to the TSP.
Good.
And I'm doing the traditional TSP.
How much is in the traditional TSP right now?
86,000.
Ooh, all right. All right. Let's talk about other assets that you have accumulated.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that we got the 100,000 in the 529, the 86 in the traditional TSP. What else is out there?
So I have a Roth that has 107 in it. And then my wife, she has a Roth that has 68 in it. And then we have an annuity that has 113 in it.
Now, wait a second. Can I
Yeah.
spend a second on the annuity?
Sure.
That annuity, is that what are the what's the source of that annuity money? Did you put a lump sum of cash in there, or was that a rollover from something else?
Well, originally it was a back in the day. My wife was a nurse, and so it was a 403b, and we rolled it into that a long while ago, back when we first got married, and then it was from that. Basically.
Okay, so it's a rollover, and so it means, only reason why I'm asking that is I want to try to understand the tax, the cost basis, the tax, and all that. But what I need to know is the money that rolled in was not taxed yet.
It was not.
All of the money in this annuity now would be taxed upon retirement.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Gotcha. Okay, so no more money's going into that, right?
No.
Any brokerage account? Any money that's already been taxed that's invested?
No, we do have a high yield savings account. It doesn't have a ton in there. There's like 5,000 in there.
Okay. What about money just in the bank?
Well, we have our regular checking account and stuff, and we usually have, it varies in there, but there's usually like about 10,000 in there, and it comes up and down a little bit, but that's kind of normal for us.
Great. And what about your house? Do you own it?
We own it, but we haven't been in there that long. But it's we do own it. We have a mortgage on it.
All right. What's the house worth, would you guess?
Between 550 and 600, right around there.
Okay. And what's the mortgage amount?
352.
And you haven't been in there that long. It's done very well. All right. But what's
5 years.
Oh, that's good. What's the interest rate on your mortgage?
2.25%.
Come on now. Loving that.
Yeah.
Loving that.
Me too.
Okay. So you got a lot of money. How would you assess your cash flow right now? Like if you look at the end of the month kind of thing, like tell me what's happening.
Well, I mean, right now with the 3 girls, I mean, our cash flow is fine. It's just, they do a lot of stuff. And so
those damn kids, they eat,
they do a lot of
electricity.
Stuff. So it's like our cash flow we got a lot flowing. And so, our outflow is high, basically.
Okay.
But,
do you have a guesstimate of how much that is?
I mean, right now, and we do a lot of giving. So that's important to us.
Okay.
So we do give 10% to the local church. That's a big thing for us. And and we do charity stuff. And so right now, if you include that, it's probably around 16 for us per month.
Okay.
But if you take that out,
take out the let me derail your moral compass for a second.
Okay.
Please. Let me just bring down to your base level.
Okay.
If I just had to pay for your stuff and I know you're going to give money, but what are you say I'm 10% tithing on your gross or on your net?
We do our gross.
Come on, we got to do the net. All right, I'm not going to argue for that.
Okay.
So what is your actual spend?
We're probably around 11.
You're listening to the Jill on Money Show. We'll be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's the Jill on Money Show. We are trying to help you make better or maybe less bad or more considered financial decisions. If you've got a financial question, just go to jillonmoney.com and click the Contact Us button. Let's get back to Dave from Chicago. This government civilian job, will it also have a pension attached to it if you stick around?
Yes.
Tell me about that. What will that be?
Well, it's probably going to be around $2,500 a month.
Okay.
By the time my goal is what I'd like to try to do is get to 59 years old if I can. That would be when my youngest is done with college, but I don't know if that's a possibility
All right.
or not.
Let's say what? You mind if I just say 60 just for the heck of
Sure.
it? Okay. So if we say 60, right?
Mm-hmm.
At that time, you would have $6,600. Is your military pension inflation adjusted?
Yes.
Okay. So you'd have 6,600 from the military pension.
Mm-hmm.
The future pension would be about 2,500, and you'd have your VA pension, which is not taxable.
Right.
So and you'll have your health care, right? Isn't all the health care taken care of?
It is, but we do have to pay something for it. We do have to pay some for it. But
how much? Would you guess?
Well, for us, it's you pay a little bit per month. It's not a lot, but then you do have to pay some co-pays.
All right,
things,
but it's not terrible. Nothing terrible here.
No, it's not.
Okay, so what we know is for your future pension selves, like your income, without any Social Security, and we'll talk about that in a second. But like assuming at your age 60, that $11,000 a month, you got it. It's good because you have your future pension, your military pension, your VA pension, which I did. And I just didn't even include the fact that the VA is not even taxable, but it's $11,600 a month. You said you need about $11,000. So that's all good. Okay.
Right.
And along the way, you can certainly be happy to gift along the way and tithe and do what you're going to do. And when you stop working, I have another idea for you. So that's a different issue. But I mean, it sounds like you're in really good shape. I hear in your voice like you feeling a little bit under pressure because of the kids and the stuff and the college and all that. Is that right?
Yeah, I was feeling a little bit that way. Just because I feel like I should be saving a little bit more,
Yeah.
But
Are you really going to do that? Come on now. You got these 3 great kids.
Yeah.
See, I made them great.
They are.
And they're good kids. And it's going to be time sensitive, I know. But like as they go to college, they'll go to college. Hopefully go to University of Illinois or wherever else you would like them to go.
Mm-hmm.
They'll get some schooling and they'll be launched and everything is good.
Mm-hmm.
And, frankly, the retirement scenario looks great for you guys. I just think that these periods, like if you're going to have 3 kids in high school at the same time, it's going to be tough to be saving a ton of money.
Yeah.
So you're doing what you should be doing. You're saving through your thrift savings plan. You're doing great job with that. Absolutely great job.
Thanks. Okay.
And you have saved a bunch of money. So I'm just going to put a few things in your ear.
Okay.
I presume all of your estate documents are done.
We do. We have a will and a power of attorney. We don't have anything beyond that yet.
All right. Well, maybe a couple of things just to think about.
Okay.
I bet that will was done when your kids were really young. Is that right?
We actually did it about 6 years ago, so it's not super old, but we probably need to update it.
Take a little look-see at that. Only because the kids are getting older and you may want to make some changes about like, hey, just make sure like the person who is in charge of being the guardian has the ability to manage your money. Like there's just things change.
Okay.
So go look at those documents. Also create a healthcare proxy. Whatever you want to happen, just put it down on paper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say you're 59 or 60 years old and I say to you, hey, you're great. You got this, you got this 11 grand coming in. It may not be perfect. It might be a little, because some of it's taxable, some of it's not. You'll have money that you can dip into. For that period of time when you're 60, what I will like you to do is that annuity that's in your wife's name, that old 403B that's probably called a IRA rollover annuity now.
Yeah.
The ideal way to manage that would be whenever there is no fee to get out of that annuity is that you just roll it into an IRA rollover for your wife, wherever you hold your Roth plans. Where do you hold your Roths right now?
Fidelity.
Okay. So you open up a Fidelity rollover IRA for your wife. Into that plan would go that annuity, that $113,000.
Okay.
With today's dollars. Okay. But make sure there's no fees to get out. If there are no fees to get out now, I would do it right now.
Okay.
If there are fees, don't do it because I hate paying those fees.
Yeah.
Anyway, what would happen is let's just pretend that it's today. and we rolled in, you have a direct rollover. It goes 113,000. Then just invest it like you're investing your Roth plans, right? In Fidelity. Now, you're going to hang on to that money. And when you're 59 or 60 years old, there's a couple of things that can happen. One is that you could just say, whatever we need in extra money, we'll just slowly pull that out of the annuity in order to make sure that we can pay our extras, right? We can pay our taxes, or we can tithe. You can just, your goal is to drain that IRA rollover. Okay.
Okay.
And same thing for your traditional thrift savings plan. So, whatever's not been taxed, you're going to slowly pull that money out. And from age 60 to age 70 and a half, you'll probably maybe you'll deplete it. Maybe you won't. I don't know. You'll see.
Yeah.
If there's any money left over at age 70 and a half, whatever's in your retirement account that has not been taxed, and there'll be some because you'll have your current TSP that you're going to end up rolling over, you'll be able to do something called a qualified charitable distribution. You'll be able to take money out of those accounts and bypass you, send it on over to the church, and assuming they're a qualified charity, can't be some wacko kind of thing that they just make up.
Yeah, right.
And you'll be able to use that money very tax efficiently.
Okay.
So you're going to have a lot of taxable income. That's the good news. And the bad news is that you'll have taxable income, which is something that we can try to minimize by using your retirement accounts, either to pull the money out slowly before you can claim Social Security. You will get some Social Security, right?
Yeah, I've paid into it the whole time.
So you'll get your Social Security. And so before you claim Social Security, though, I want to try to get some of this money out of these retirement accounts.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job, dude. Stop sweating it.
Okay.
You got 3 kids. They're good kids and they're having fun. What's the most expensive activity that they have?
Dancing.
Dancing? What kind of dancing?
Well, like team dancing, traveling
What's that?
traveling around and, going to competitions and stuff like that. And there's some cheerleading too.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a second. Are they like part of that whole cheer thing? That sounds cultish. It scares me.
No, not to that extent.
All right. Okay.
No, so it's
but
fun.
the dance competition?
Yeah. Some dance.
Oh my God.
It's fun.
Well,
they love it.
I guess it could be worse. It could be like they're ice hockey players and you have to wake up at 4:00 in the morning and go to the arena.
No, we don't do that. Thankfully.
None of that. So, all right. Well, Dave, seems like you're in good shape to me.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
Love the podcast.
Hey, thanks. Thank you so much. I love how many military people we have because I am the least military person in terms of like my ability to actually foot to authority, and I'm not tough, so I would run. Good luck to you guys. I gotta go. I'm out of here because I'm a chicken, and so I very much respect everything that you all do in the military. And so thank you so much for that. I really do. If you need assistance making a big financial decision or a small one, get in touch with us. Go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. Don't forget to check the box if you want to join us on the air live. You're listening to the Jill on Money Show. We'll be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
Welcome back. It's Jill on Money. We are here trying to guide you through whatever is going on in your financial life. If you've got a question, go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. Now, while you're there, you may want to check out some cool stuff. We've got a free weekly newsletter. It comes out every Friday. And we also have a link to subscribe to our service called Jill on Money Live. That's where you have access to quarterly live webinars, bonus audio and video content, and the entire back catalog, all for $45 for the next 12 months. And our next guest is the ever-loving, wonderful Ed Slott. He is a CPA and IRA expert. If you are in the middle of tax season and want some guidance, you've got to join us for this Thursday, March 6th at 7 Eastern Time, only for those folks who are part of Jill on Money Live. Okay, back to you right now. Let's talk to Ed, who's on the line with us from Philadelphia.
I'm 64 years old. I've been retired for the last 3 years. I do have a side job. The side job doesn't bring me much money. It's more to keep me out of trouble and to keep me busy. Mm-hmm. I've been called a super saver. I've saved for the last, big time. I've saved for the last 40 years. I'm a big believer in dividends, and I've saved over probably about $630,000 a year in dividends.
Wait. Are you kidding me?
No, I am.
Holy smokes. Wait a sec. So when you were working, you retired 3 years ago, were you making piles of money your whole career?
I made a lot of money, but I'm making more money now. I have more income now in retirement than I did when I was working.
Wow. So the income that you have, let me do a few other things. Are you married, single? What do we got going on?
I am married and have 2 older children that live out of state.
And they're fine, right?
And they're fine.
And your spouse work?
Yes, but mainly just like I am, not bringing in a lot of money just to keep busy.
Okay. So between the two of you and your little side hustles, how much money comes in from that?
Both of us combined, probably $25,000.
Okay. And then now tell us about the other income that is coming to you from all those dividends. Because I imagine we're talking about a non-retirement account, because it sounds like there's it's coming in and it's taxable, right?
Correct.
Okay. So first of all, what is the amount of income that's being spun off? About
$630,000.
How much is the actual investment account? Mark's laughing. So what is the account? It's probably a joint account or whatever, but what is the account value?
Just under $10 million.
Oh boy. Well, that'll do it for you. Boy, you made a pile of money. Mark, do you think he's pulling our leg? I feel like he's telling the truth.
I believe him. What?
Yeah, why lie? He's a lot of other things you could lie about. Who cares? So is this where most of your money is, or do you also have retirement account income?
I have a little bit in retirement. I have a little bit in an IRA, which I have not touched. And I also have roughly about a $200,000 annuity, which I have not touched either.
Okay. And I presume that you are not claiming Social Security yet, because why do that?
Correct.
All right. What are we doing? So you're taking all these dividends and you're not living large. You're not spending it. I mean, I feel like if you're a super saver, I don't think that you're the kind of person who's like, yeah, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to spend $200,000 of that what do you guys spend on an annual basis?
Well, my biggest expense right now is health insurance. No, I take that back. Excuse me. I take that back. My biggest expense is taxes.
Right, of course.
My tax bill is just under $90,000 a year.
Hello. What do you need to live on, though? Okay, here's not just my tax bill, but I'm saying cost of living my life without the tax bill.
Without the tax bill, I need probably roughly a little over $100,000.
Okay. The dividends that are being generated, are those dividends from individual stock holdings, or are they from funds, mutual funds or exchange traded funds?
Individual stocks.
So I presume that a lot of those individual stocks have very low cost basis. Is that right?
Correct.
Doesn't really matter. You have piles of money. You're never going to spend it all. So what's the actual problem here? Is it oh my God, I have all this income and I don't really need it. And what should I do with it? Should we be thinking about doing some aggressive gifting to your kids?
Well, I already do that. I give each of my boys get about $15,000 a year from that 630. Mm-hmm. But my big question to you is, for the last 20 years, I've been reinvesting the unspent dividends to create more income.
can't help yourself. Jeez Louise.
My question is, do I stop doing that and just save it, or do I keep on reinvesting it and making it grow and just give my sons a bigger inheritance?
Are they good kids? They like manage money? How old are they? I don't want to go crazy.
I got
a
30-year-old and a 33-year-old.
Married, single? Are they any grandkids yet?
Not yet. The 30-year-old lives in Nashville. He is married, and the 33-year-old lives in Fort Lauderdale, and he is not married. But they are good kids.
Okay. So my next question is, and please, you can answer it truthfully. Like, are you charitably inclined? Do you think about like, I'd like to give some money away to non-family?
My wife gives a little bit to our church, but we could do more. I mean, we could do a lot more. Currently, we give about maybe $6,000 to our church.
So this is one of those crazy. First of all, you're going to get us all sorts of hate mail. Mark, we need a specific sounder for the hate mail that's about to come in, right?
No hating from me.
No hate. This is amazing. Okay. So a few things to consider. And again, a lot of this is, I understand everyone listening that this is one of those crazy situations that is like out of touch for most of us. Okay. But we're really trying to figure out, when you have this big corpus, this big account that's driving so much income, what to do with it. So there's a few things to consider. One is that because this is low basis stock, if you were to just sell it, you'd get killed in taxes, right?
Correct.
Okay. We'll get back to Ed in just a minute. I know it's a wild story. Just hang in there. This is going to be very interesting. If you've got a financial question, you don't have to be a bazillionaire like Ed. Just give us a holler. JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. You're listening to the Jill on Money Show. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger takes the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's the Jill on Money Show, and we are here trying to help you navigate whatever lies ahead for you on your financial journey, and also to make sense of some of the crazy headlines that you've been reading. I know it's a lot. So when you see a headline that is particularly focused on the economy and you have a question, you may want to hop on to JillOnMoney.com. I've probably written about it in my blog. So I know the information changes so often. How does it impact you? That's what I'm concerned with. And if you have a question about anything that's going on, whether it's broad and in the economy, in the world, or micro in your own life, give us a holler. Go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, write us that note. That's the email that we receive. And if you would like to join us live on the air, check the box, and Mark will do everything else. You will see that on the website, we've got a lot of different things there. We've got resources, and we also have links to 2 other shows that we produce, 2 podcasts. One is called Jill on Money, like this one, but it's a little teeny tiny version of this. And also we have our link to the Money Watch podcast. So check those out. Everything lives at JillOnMoney.com. Right now, let's get back to Ed, who's on the line from Philadelphia. Have you heard of something called a donor advised fund? Have you ever heard of that term?
No, I have not.
Okay, you're going to like this. So one thing that you can do is there is a way to set up a fund that is basically a charitable giving fund. I'm not saying you should create some huge family foundation. This is literally like going to Vanguard or Fidelity or T. Rowe Price or wherever you have your money and saying, I want to open up an account. Do you manage all the money yourself, by the way?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So do you mind me asking where it's held?
It's all in Schwab.
Okay, great. Schwab has one also. So Schwab will have something called a donor advised fund. And the way it works is the government allows you to take a very big tax deduction today for whatever money you put into this fund. Okay. So I'm just going to make up some some numbers here. Let's say that you were like, oh, Jill, I bought Apple stock, and it has, I bought it for $10,000 and right now it's worth $500,000. Just, for sake of argument, right? Mm-hmm. So you know that if you sold that position now, you'd have a long-term capital gain of $490,000 and you wouldn't want to take that gain, right? But what you could do is you could say, I'm going to gift my Apple stock, that $500,000 position. I'm going to push that into something called a donor-advised fund. I'll open it up at Schwab, and I will immediately get a $500,000 charitable deduction for this year. So we're in 2025. You get right off the bat, you're going to say, wow, I have a huge tax deduction. I made a charitable contribution, $500,000. Now, the money that goes into the donor advised fund, it does not go in as Apple stock. It goes in as Apple stock. They just sell it immediately. But that's it. There's no tax due on that. When that money comes into the donor advised fund, you can actually start investing it in, not in individual stocks, but you can pick some funds. And then you have $500,000, which you can then dribble out and give away. You could give it to your church. You could give it to, if you're worried about the LA fires, you say, I'm going to give a bunch of money to the American Red Cross. I'm going to give some money to the California Fire Foundation, whatever it is. But you don't have to do it all in 1 year. You have to give enough away it's usually about, you don't have to, but I think that the IRS is going to ultimately say you have to give 5% of it away a year, but you have to give a little bit of it away every year. And you've got that money and you get this big fat deduction. So you might say, hey, you know what? I want to give more to the church. I want to give, $25,000 a year to the church. You can do it from the donor advised fund. And the cool thing is that the year that you make that contribution, you will get that tax deduction. So it's just that in the future years, you don't get to write off, like what you're doing now is like $6,000 a year, right? But you don't get that in the future. You'll anything that's gifted out of that donor advised fund, you don't take a deduction for. You take it all in on the way in for whatever goes into that account.
I can't carry it forward.
You can. You absolutely can. You can carry it forward for years. You don't have to give it all away in the year. It's just that you only get the tax deduction for that lump sum that goes in that first year. That's your tax deduction. It's cool.
It is. I've never heard of it.
It's so a donor advised fund. The other thing I would suggest is, if it sounds like you have good kids, right? You and your wife probably should give away a little bit more money to them. One thing that you could, are they in a low tax bracket, the kids?
Yes.
Okay. So another idea is if you're writing a check for $15,000, I would stop doing that. I would say you and your wife can give $18,000 a year to each kid. So you guys can give $36,000 a year to each kid. It's like basically, it's kind of considered like a marital gift, right? Mm-hmm. I would take $36,000 of some low basis stock and gift it to the kids. And either they can keep it or they can sell it, but they're going to sell it. The capital gain goes with the gift, but they're in such a low tax bracket. We might be able to have them make the transaction that you like, let's say in my scenario of Apple stock, right? You give them something that, you bought for a few $1,000s and now it's $36,000. If they have that $30,000 or $40,000 gain, they can just sell it and it's taxed at their long-term capital gains rate, which will definitely be lower than yours. If you have a financial question, you don't need millions to get in touch with us. Just go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are here trying to help you make better, less bad, more considered financial decisions. So if you've got a question, all you need to do is go to our website, jillonmoney.com. In the upper right-hand corner, no matter where you navigate on the site, there will be a Contact Us button. When you click that button, a form will pop up. That's the email that we received. Now, if you're shy, give us a lot of detail, because then when we read the email on the air, we'll know more about you. If you plan to join us on the air live, just check that box, and Mark will do everything else. He'll arrange to get you on the air live with us. Of course, while you're on the website, I encourage you to bookmark it. You can also sign up for our free weekly newsletter, which comes out every Friday. Mark does such a great job with that. He compiles some of the stories you may have missed during the week. It's a perfect tune-up for this program. And if you've missed any part of this show, you can always go back and listen. Just go to the radio tab at the top of the website. Okay, right now, a question from one of you shy folks. This is from Patricia. She writes, I'll be 65 when my term life insurance will expire. I have family members who depend upon me, and I want to get a life insurance policy to help them when I pass away. What are my best options, costs, and the differences of the various types of life insurance? Well, Patricia, this is one of those situations where I think you may want to bring in a financial advisor, a fiduciary, to help you through this. What you probably need is some form of permanent life insurance, not term life insurance, because you are older, 65. But policies vary dramatically, and I'd be interested in finding out more about you and having someone help guide you through the insurance process given your age. It can be very expensive, so I really want to make sure that you have the best advice possible, advice that's in your best interest. You may want to go to letsmakeaplan.org, that's the CFP website, or the National Association of Personal Financial Advisors, NAPFA.org. I hope that helps. If you have an insurance question, if you have an investment question, if you have a retirement question, get on the horn with us. Go to jillonmoney.com and click the Contact Us button. You're listening to the Jill on Money Show.
It's the weekend, and that can only mean one thing. You're listening to Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are here trying to help you make better financial decisions. If you've got a question, go to jillonmoney.com and click the Contact Us button. Write us that note. And if you'd like to join us live, just check the box. Mark will do everything else. Hey, for those of you who are not part of Jill on Money Live, that's our subscription service, you may want to join our next guest, Ed Slott. He is the IRA expert, CPA, and head Roth cheerleader. He will be joining us Thursday, March 6th at 7 Eastern Time, but you can only be part of this webinar if you are a member of Jill on Money Live. Okay, let's get back to you. Let's go talk to Lynn, who's on the line from Los Angeles. Lynn, first and foremost, you okay?
Yes, we're doing well. We're doing well.
It's a big area, but so many people impacted. I'm sure that everybody in LA knows somebody who is impacted by this tragedy. So a lot of good thoughts sending out to you out there, and will obviously change your city for a long time. Are you a lifelong Los Angelino?
I am.
Wow.
Yes.
So this is pretty stunning for you. I mean, how does it feel?
Surreal.
Yeah. I know it's like I keep thinking about what it was like in New York after 9/11, and it was that same surreal feeling. Like, did that just happen? That did just happen. Oh my God, that just happened. So anyway, we're sending all of our good thoughts out to you and your friends out there. So tell us what brings you to us, since it is not wildfire relief. What's going on for you?
So I just sold my primary residence, and really happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a good chunk of change in proceeds.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure what to do next. I'm not sure what my next step is. I'm renting. I just signed a 1-year lease, and I'm in a lovely rental right now. But I live in a high cost state to rent and a high cost state to purchase.
Yeah.
So I'm really not sure. I'm 54 years old.
Okay.
So when I look at the mortgage, rent versus buy calculators, since I may live, hopefully 30 more years.
God willing.
Yes. It seems to lean towards buying because of my timeline.
Mm-hmm.
But also the factors of where I live.
Yeah.
And I don't want to leave my area. I have,
Uh-huh.
lifelong family and friends here. So
Okay. All right. Well, this is
this is my home.
interesting. I mean, first of all, if you are if you really want to stay there, there's going to be a number of issues that are now going to compound the questions that would have existed just 2 months ago, right? So let's start with a few facts. You said you're 54. Are you single, partnered, or married?
Partnered.
Okay, and partner and you live together?
Yes.
Okay, got it. And are you both working?
Yes.
Okay. Do you combine your finances or not?
We do not.
Okay, so separate finances, but that means that you can defray some of the costs of the living expenses. Would the partner be in a place to be able to buy with you or not?
The plan we've talked about is, yes, us buying together and having a mortgage together, but
Hmm.
I would more likely, I'm in a better position to put the down payment on a home.
Okay.
We're working on an agreement with a real estate attorney right now,
Okay. All
to
right. That
just
I get
protect
that.
those funds.
Yep, I get that. That's smart. So right now, you sold your primary residence. What are the proceeds that are sitting in the bank account or investment account right now?
I came out with a little over $1 million with the
That's a good
sale.
number.
Yeah,
That's a real number. Wow.
it feels nice in my bank account right
It's so
now.
fun. Wow, that's just very warm and comforting to me. I know that. Gosh, I mean, especially right now, having some cash on hand is not a terrible thing. Are you
Nope,
still working, Lynn?
I am. Yes,
And how much do you earn?
a little over 100,000 a year,
And partner earns how much?
between 150 and 175.
Okay, so partner has like better cash flow, but you have more cash on hand.
Yes.
I get it now. Okay. And so if I were looking ahead and just thinking about buying, what would you have to pay? I mean, and now again, it's going to be much more difficult. We knew that the area already had a housing shortage and a real estate problem. And now with the fires, this is going to only be, sort of exacerbated. So what is it do you think you would need to purchase, like the amount of money that would get you into a house that or an apartment or co-op that you would like to live in?
The idea as of now would be to buy a fixer-upper, to buy
Mm.
a distressed property, but still that would probably still cost 1.2 million to 1.4 or 1.5 million.
Okay, 1.2 to 1.5. You have the $1 million in the proceeds that's just hanging out. What about other assets that you have?
Okay, I have 160 in my Roth.
Okay.
I have 18 in an IRA.
Okay.
I have a beneficiary IRA with $30,000. My brokerage total, including the proceeds,
Yep.
is 1930.
So you had 930 in the brokerage plus the $1
Yes.
million
Yes.
of the proceeds. Okay.
Yes. And then I have about 75,000 cash on hand.
And what about in your like in your workplace? Do you have a workplace plan, or are you just on your 100,000 or so? Do you have any benefit available to you, or are you just
Nothing.
funding
I'm
your?
self-employed. I'm
Okay.
self-employed.
Okay. Got it. Partner. Does partner have some stability, even if not, the $2 million in a brokerage account, but some stability that would allow him or her to contribute to the down payment or not?
Honestly, they could, but I don't think it's the right choice for them,
Okay.
because from their divorce, they kind of had to restart financially later in
Yeah.
life.
Yep.
And they're older than me, a little bit older, 6 years older. So I think having the retirement cash,
Is important.
is more important.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. And no pension for partner?
No.
Okay. So as we look ahead, what do you think the time horizon is? Do you want to like pull the trigger and get this going as quickly as possible? How are you feeling about it?
I don't know. I'm a very flexible person. So
Okay.
it's great. And it's also, I don't know, challenging because I could go a lot of ways. I mean,
But
because of the
not outside,
fire.
but not out of LA. You're not that flexible.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the one. So that I just want to make sure we got that. So
Yeah.
that is the one absolute here. You say, I'm not leaving LA.
No,
Okay.
not at this point. No.
We'll get back to Lynn in just a minute. If you've got a financial question, just go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. You're listening to the Jill on Money Show. We'll be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
Welcome back. It's the Jill on Money Show. We are here answering your financial questions. So if you've got something going on, it doesn't matter how much or how little money you have, anything that is percolating in your head, especially something if it's kind of bothering you, I always like the idea of we provide you with peace of mind. That's really the focus of this program. How to help you get where you want to go with a lot less stress. And I know sometimes we have really wealthy people on the air, and sometimes we don't. We don't make a judgment around that. I hope you don't either. Every one of us as a human being, we all have weird money issues. And so regardless of where you are in your life, just starting out, maybe figuring out retirement, maybe you've got retirement down, but you're really thinking about your estate plan and need some assistance with that. We're here for you. Just go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. If you'd like to join us on the program live, then just check the box. Mark will do everything else. I love having you on the air because then we get to ask you more follow-up questions. But if you're shy, no problem. The email will do. Right now, let's get back to Lynn from Los Angeles. What prompted the sale of the primary residence anyway?
It was a condominium.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was going to be very low maintenance. It seemed like a pretty new building. I thought it was just life was going to be easy, and it wasn't. It was a 4-unit building, and so there wasn't a lot of people to handle the workload, and I ended up doing a lot of it, and I just was not enjoying it at all.
So you are a handy gal, one would say, because you are
Yes.
willing to do the fixer-upper and do the work. And so you'd move into this so-called fixer-upper. It's very funny for people to hear this who are not in high cost of living areas, where you'd have to, shell out the money. And you don't have to do this for a year because you just signed a 1-year lease. So you could yes.
Or I could be doing it while I'm in the rental.
Yeah. So are you
right now.
actively, have you been, I mean, this is crazy to say this, but have you actively been looking right now? Because I feel like the market is dislocated right now, but has it been? Maybe I'm wrong.
I was looking. I mean, I just moved on the 2nd, so like everything's
God.
super recent.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm still getting, my inbox. I'm still getting for my realtor. I'm still getting listings. I drive by things.
Mm-hmm. So if you were to do this and we took the proceeds, I mean, right now you kind of can't afford to put a lot of this money at risk because, in 6 months, you might say, hey, I need $500,000 to buy this fixer upper. I'm going to get a $1 million mortgage or something, or maybe some portion of that.
Mhm.
And then you need other money to, like, you can't put all of the $1 million down, right?
No,
So you'd
no.
put some portion down, you'd keep at least the 500,000 probably in your back pocket to do the work along the way, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Okay. Is your idea that you would not touch any other funds from the brokerage account, just use the proceeds to do whatever you're going to do next?
Yes, correct.
Okay, got it. What do you think your expenses are right now? Like, how are you living? Your new rent is how much?
$6,000 a month.
Okay. And so with that, and plus other expenses, what's what we would call your burn rate? What are you spending every month?
Probably $8,000 a month.
You only spend $2,000 a month? Oh, because are you splitting? No, but I'm
Eight.
saying you only on top of the rent. You have $6,000.
Well, the rent is I'm splitting it with my partner.
Got it. So you're only on the hook for 3.
Yes.
I got you. And so
Yes.
you're spending 8 total. Okay, got
Yes.
it. All right, perfect. Well, that's pretty good. You don't live like high in the hog for sure.
No. But I enjoy my life, but I'm not too extravagant.
All right. Well, you're doing great. You're putting a lot of money away. So, what's the key issue that you are struggling with right now?
Is it smart to buy something, or am I better off just renting and having the flexibility?
Well, here's how I look at this. I think the market is going to be very odd. And it could be that if you happen to find something in your price range, it might be a pretty good idea to take advantage of that, because I'm concerned that this housing shortage is only going to get worse. And I think there's going to be a lot of people who are looking not necessarily for a fixer upper, but they're looking to like hurry up and buy something quickly, and maybe they'd flip it later. So I feel like that 1.2 to 1.5 could easily become 2 million in 2 years. And that's just the unique nature of the LA market. Nothing is bad about renting. Okay. There really is nothing bad. It's just a question of how much your rent is. So if you're renting something at $6,000 a month, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then all of a sudden you look and you say, well, $6,000 a month sounds pretty good. If our fixer upper now costs 2 million plus 2.5 million, it costs 2 million to get in, and then another half or 700,000 to fix it up. Because make no mistake, getting contractors, actual repairs, doing the work, it's going to get more expensive. I know this from my personal experience of dealing with Sandy here on the East Coast, where I had many friends who were rebuilding, and the price went up by, 20 to 30% for everything, just because you couldn't get builders. And the builders, it wasn't like they were gouging so much. It was just like that's supply and demand. They only had so much time. So I'm considering this as like, if you had to, let's say you had to rent for 3 years and you threw some money out the window, that would really be kind of like the outside. I think I don't know, we'll see. I just don't know how long this is all going to take, but I do think that you're going to have a lot of stuff that comes on the market, but I think there's going to be a lot of people flooding to the market trying to say, I want to buy, I want to get in. We just don't know, like, if there's going to be net migration, meaning, is this going to be a case where a lot of the people are like, screw it, I'm out of here, and they go to Arizona or they go to Texas? Or is it going to be like you? Hey, I'm a lifelong Angelino and I'm sticking around. I'm going to rebuild. And what happens next is, we'll see. So I think in the proceeds category, we know you have at least a year before you really need anything. So right now, that money that's in cash, I might try to lock in some rate of return for at least half the money. Maybe it would be in a, 6-month, maybe it's a 1-year treasury, just to get that money invested and earning income. Because if you leave it in a money market and interest rates stay where they are, it's fine. What's the money market earning right now? 3 to 4 or something like that?
I think 4.5.
4.5 is good. That'll go down though. So I think that maybe we got to try to think about like making sure we lock in some of the money just in case rates go down. I mean, they're not going down anytime soon, but they will, I think, maybe one more time this year. And maybe be flexible and keep looking, and know that a lot of this money just can't be put to work, because I don't know whether or not you're going to need it. If you found something that you liked and you ran those calculators, right? And you say, okay, I'm running maybe even hard because what are you renting now? A 2-bedroom?
Yes.
Okay. So are we comparing apples to apples? Or are you only looking at like a 3-bedroom house?
I mean, probably a
Yeah.
3-bedroom. Yeah.
Right. So it's not exactly apples to apples. But when you look at that, hey, Mark, do me a favor. Run a $1 million 30-year fixed rate mortgage for me. What's the cost on that? Whatever it is, we're going to, I presume it's going to be a lot more than your $6,000 a month, right? So that means you have
Yes.
a few years where renting will make sense versus buying. And it may be that you have more than a few years. I just think that it's hard for us to make the decision to go out and invest this, because normally if you said, I'm never going to buy, we would just put that money to work for you and say, go on, move on. Okay. But if you are preserving the right to buy, maybe we just hang out for a year. You might decide in a year from now, if like the total cost of buying and fixing that home up is, $2.5 million, or by the way, maybe your rent changes, we're going to have a different decision point in a year, I think. We'll get back to Lynn in just a moment. If you've got a financial question, just go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. We are here trying to take the mystery out of your financial life. If you've got a question, go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. Now, while you're there, you may want to check out some cool stuff. We've got a free weekly newsletter. It comes out every Friday. And we also have a link to subscribe to our service called Jill on Money Live. That's where you have access to quarterly live webinars, bonus audio and video content, and the entire back catalog, all for $45 for the next 12 months. And our next guest is the ever-loving, wonderful Ed Slott. He is a CPA and IRA expert. He is the head Roth cheerleader. If you are in the middle of tax season and want some guidance, you've got to join us for this Thursday, March 6th at 7 Eastern Time, only for those folks who are part of Jill on Money Live. Right now, let's wrap up with Lynn, who joins us from Los Angeles. I mean, I don't know where you are, but I presume all rents are going to rise, not gouging rise, but, just going to rise. There's more people, there are going to be more renters, and that's going to put pressure on the market as well. So I don't know. I'm sort of feeling like we got a year to just kind of chill out. Let's make sure you have that money invested so that it's earning that 4.5%. That's great, whether it stays in a money market or maybe into a short-term treasury. Either way. And then I think you have another decision to make in a year from now or within the next bunch of months. Hey, look, maybe you find something. Maybe you're like, oh my God, now this house is turning over. People don't want to do the work and I'm willing to do the work, and maybe you can get something. So Mark, you have any answers for me, or are you just sitting there doing nothing?
Yeah, about 6,600.
So 6,600 is principal and interest. Your homeowner's insurance is going to skyrocket in
I can't
California.
even imagine.
So,
I can't even imagine what that's going to be.
You got a long runway of being a good renter. Even if that rent went from $6,000 to $8,000 a month, it's still going to be a way better deal. Because to me, the principal interest homeowners is probably going to add like a sick amount of money. Like then you're at $8,000, and then you have to pay property taxes, which are expensive, I know, in California.
Yep.
So now you're really talking about probably somewhere around, let's just ballpark it. Let's say it's $10,000 a month. Okay. For principal, interest, homeowners, and taxes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that gives you a long time before you really have to, think about, oh, my rent would have to go up a lot, right? To manage that. Now, it is also true that the 10 is not all yours, right? You're sharing the burden, but 6 to 10 is a big difference. So
Definitely.
I think that when you're looking at a lot of these properties that you're considering, depending on where they are, I think you really have to be aware of what is my risk, what, and by the way, I understand that Zillow has this new part of their website where they are factoring climate issues into the cost of the home and like the risk that you carry. And, so I think that renting might be just a fine idea for a couple of years before, and let's see how the market settles out. And if something fell in your lap, you're ready to pounce. But I wouldn't be in a huge hurry because you have a place to live. And is this an individual home, or are you living in a unit somewhere?
It's a home. It's a home. It's very comfortable. I feel very fortunate to have found it.
And these folks who are your landlords, they're decent human beings so far?
I have no idea. There's a
Management company?
Individual real estate agent / property manager who seems lovely.
Okay. All right. Well, so far so good then. I feel like this is not a bad thing. I like the idea that you guys are maybe going to paper a deal between the two of you. And how much longer are you going to work? You're going to you're self-employed. How's your boss? A pain in the ass, right?
It's very difficult.
Very, very difficult and demanding.
I don't see any end. I don't know. I'm not, yeah.
Okay. All right.
I like having something to do. I need to fill my days somehow.
All right. Well, I think and so really I've given you no answer, which is which is basically very annoying. But I
have one more question.
Do it.
What about should I there's no way I'm going to put $1 million down on a house.
Right.
Probably 800 would be the max I would do.
Yeah.
Is it worth it to take 200 of the proceeds and put it into the market somewhere?
Well, only if you can guarantee me that the market will go up. If you can, then I'm aboard with that plan. If you can do that, I'm ready to rock and roll. Here's the risk. Let's say it's 8 months from now and something falls in your lap. Things are going to fall in people's laps. Believe me, this is times of uncertainty and basically panic breed weird opportunities. So someone in your life is going to be like, oh my God, my parents, they don't want to deal. Anyone have $1 million in cash right now to do this? Or anyone who can just move fast, and you would be moving fast and then, then starting work. Right. Yeah. And so if you need to you would need to start to access some of these funds. What if someone said, you can have a 3-bedroom house and instead of 1.5, it's 1.1, and you could just buy it in cash and figure it out later. And you might be like, I'm going to do that. But if you're in the market and the market's down, there are a lot of things that cash can do for you in terms of opportunity. And I'm not suggesting you should have cash, but it might be a situation where you could be like, I could use this. I can blow my cash. I could be fine and I could rebuild. Or I can get a $500,000 loan and put, my $600,000 down and get this property that I want to get. But once you put it in the market, it could work, right? If it were if you called me in the beginning of 2024, and the market went up, 25%, you'd be like, awesome, it worked. But if it were the beginning of 2022 and it was down by 20 or 25%, you'd be pissed. So I don't know. I have no idea in the short term what's really going to happen. So I just feel like, if you were very clear after some months, if all of a sudden you're like, oh, guess what? Fixer-uppers are $3 million now. That's different than you're priced out of the market. And then you can put the money to work. But if that's not the case and there's still some possibilities for you, I don't know. I want to preserve my options.
That's good advice.
Do you have a financial question? Just go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. When you click that button, a form will pop up. That's the email that we receive. Now, if you're shy, give us a lot of detail because then when we read the email on the air, we'll know more about you. If you plan to join us on the air live, just check that box, and Mark will do everything else. He'll arrange to get you on the air live with us. You're listening to the Jill on Money Show. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger takes the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. Let's take an email from Gary. Hi, Jill. I enjoy your weekly email newsletter. Hey, Mark, that's for you. So, hey, Mark, that's all about the newsletter. Congratulations. Okay, he also enjoys our podcast. He says, I even purchased your last book, my most recent book, The Great Money Reset, and found it useful. I have a question I think that could be simple, but maybe not. So Gary goes on and writes, I will be retiring from my full-time job in May of this year. My wife and I are 66. She is already retired. I have worked out a deal with my current employer that I will be working for them starting on May 1st as a contractor. I love this idea, supporting a sales territory. I'm hoping to make about $30,000 per year for the foreseeable future. It's a conservative number, and it could easily double if I were to sell a lot. Now, we would like to have about $9,000 a month to live on. We have our portfolio professionally managed. It's in a mediumly conservative program that is rebalanced regularly. I asked my financial advisor to start to draw funds from my IRA at $4,000 a month, starting at the beginning of this year until it is depleted, and then move on to our other IRA. I did this because I was planning on retiring in January. My employer asked me to stay on full time for a few months, so that's why retirement got pushed off to May. I don't need the $4,000 at this time, so I'm taking that money and fully funding our Roths for 2025. Once they're fully funded, I plan on reinvesting any excess money in my brokerage account. Is this a sensible strategy? I am attempting to reduce the money in my 401k and traditional IRAs as much as possible now so that we'll have lower RMDs in the future and, of course, more money in the Roth accounts. As long as I continue to have earned income and have excess cash flow, should we continue to fully fund the Roths? Yeah, why not? I love this plan. Don't you, Mark? It seems like a great plan for Gary and his wife.
Yeah, I mean, I would love some more information, such as the numbers, but yeah, from what he tells us, sure, why not?
Exactly. I mean, gang, what I want everyone to hear in all of this is that as you look ahead, if you are in a period of time where you know that your tax situation is going to be putting you in a lower bracket, why not take the money out? And, I don't know the other aspects. We don't know how much taxable income his portfolio might have and this, that, and the other thing. But, if you think about it, $4,000 a month, right? And you got almost $50,000 a year, and he's making the 30. And I mean, he could be in the 12% bracket. And the only risk he has is just if he starts kicking butt on his income and he pops into the next tax bracket, what would that do? But I don't know. It could be fine. I think it'd be all right. We'll see. But if you need more on this, just get back in touch with us. Okay, this is from Kay, who says, Hi, Jill and Mark. Big fan of the pod. Keep up the great work. Okay. My partner and I are feeling less and less enthusiastic about going to work these days. Our vices are travel. We'd like to do more of that while we're relatively fit and able to do so. We've got 2 kids, one launched, the other 85% launched. I'm 61. Partner 62. We would love to call it quits next year when we're 62 and 63, respectively. Do we have enough to retire? We live in a high cost of living state. Okay. Ready for, I'm going to first look at this. Right now they spend about $140,000 a year. Okay. This is interesting. So their income, they make $220 right now. And they got a lot of money. Let me just add this up quickly. So it's 1.1 in traditional retirement assets, 360 in a Roth, 420 in a brokerage account, 45 grand in an HSA, $67,000 in cash. There are 2 scenarios. You ready for the 2 scenarios, Mark? One is retire next year and claim Social Security. Why are we claiming at 65? Does she mean 67? I hope you mean 67 because I don't want you to claim at 65. We want you to claim at 67. So I'm going to just say that retire next year, okay? And I think she means looking at 62 and 67, I think. They will have income in retirement, Social Security of, let's call it about $5,000 a month that comes from Social Security, okay? But we got to create $12,000 a month in income, right? 5 is going to come from Social Security. Then the question is, I'm trying to figure out what's happening. Is she giving me the income for both of them or each of them? How do you read that, Mark?
I think
Because one says 62 and one says 65.
yeah,
And
I
don't
read it.
know.
I read it as it's both of them
Each?
combined.
Oh, you do? See, I'm not sure. Okay, so all right, let's just say this. There's at least 5 and maybe 7, maybe it's 5 grand from Social Security, then another 2 in a pension. So the question is, if they had 7 grand a month of income, could their let's call it, their $1.8 million portfolio create the balance of that income?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
sure.
But they're going to have to spend for 3 years or so.
Exactly. So here's what I would say about this. First of all, I'm much more interested. My scenario that I'd love for you to follow up with us is, do not send us anything at 62. No one's claiming Social Security at 62 unless you tell me you're in terrible health. That's number one. So I want to see the numbers for 67 and 70 for each of you. Okay, so just say me and then say partner, and then we can better assess this. But, remember, you're going to have to spend down some money. Every scenario is retirement friendly. It's just a question of what you choose to do. All right? That's what I would say. Don't stress too much. It's just we need a little bit more information. You're listening to Jill on Money. We'll be right back. You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are just finishing up the program. But of course, I always have time for one more email. I'd love to squeeze this one in. This is from Tracy, who writes, I live in the Boston area, and I sold my second home after owning it for more than 30 years. The sales price was $200,000. My income is less than $40,000. My brief research indicates that I do not need to pay capital gains on this, but my accountant says that I do have to pay capital gains because this is not my primary home. Do you know which is true? Well, Tracy, I think your accountant may be on the right track here. I'm not a CPA, but here's my understanding. If you have a home that is your primary residence and you've owned it for 2 of the last 5 years and then you sell it, you are able to exclude up to $250,000 of capital gains and you pay no tax. But in your case, as your accountant said, this is your second home. So what does that mean? The sale of the house would be taxed, most likely, he didn't mention whether you're single or married, I'm just going to presume you're single, is likely to be taxed at a 15% capital gains rate. Now, remember, the capital gain is the gain you've made. So if you bought the house for $100,000 and you've sold it for $200,000, then it's the $100,000 gain that is taxed. If you're saying the $200,000 that you have is the total gain, well, then that's the amount that you're going to be taxed on. Either way, it doesn't seem to be a terrible situation. If you would like to follow up with us, we are here for you, happy to talk you through it. As Mark and I always like to remind folks, when you have a gain, it's a good thing. It's okay. And 15% capital gains seems pretty reasonable to me. Well, that's it. That's the program. Thanks so much for listening. Remember, all of our content lives at JillOnMoney.com, our website, and you can always ask us a question by clicking the Contact Us button. Our music is composed by Joel Goodman. Mark Talercio is the executive producer and king of all things web. We ask that you do something nice for someone else today. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week.